Hi children, welcome to SVS learning class. Okay, in the last session we have completed sudden process, slow movements and external process, and also some of the volcanoes, important volcanoes we come to understand, and the process which is change in the landform such as weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition, and by air, wind and water. This all we have completed. As on our children, and also we started to begin the work of the water. And already I said the work of the water, it's a waterfall, it's forming, and one of the biggest, longest or highest waterfall in the world, that is Angel Waterfall. Here you can see the picture, and it is in the Venezuela. Here you can see the map, the Venezuela in South America, as on the river Turun. And we understood, and the second waterfall, that is the Tugela waterfall in South Africa. Tugela waterfall in South Africa. This is the Tugela waterfall, and here you can find the Tugela waterfall on the river Tugela. Okay, and the highest waterfall in India, in early I said there is a Jog fall, but due to some updation, Jog fall not, it's then somewhat bigger height, somewhat increased the waterfall in the same state, Karnataka, that is waterfall Kunjikal. Remember Kunjikal waterfall in Varahi river. Before we said about Jogu waterfall on Sharavati river, but some updation. Remember Kunjikal waterfall in Varahi, Varahi river in Karnataka. That is the highest waterfall in India, not Jog waterfall. Here we can see the Kunjikal waterfall in Varahi river in Karnataka. Got it, children? Okay, so we come to understand waterfall. After it will create a V-shaped valley. After it reaches to the canyons and gorges, and already we know the biggest canyon, that is the Grand Canyons on the river Colorado. So not Colorado, and we have the gorges also. So Bison gorges in Andhra Pradesh. Remember on the river Godavari. Last I missed to say the points that all just now covering here. The Bison gorges in Andhra Pradesh from the river Godavari, and Ganges gorges are there, and as well as Indus gorges in Indus river in Kashmir. Okay, last class I said Ganga gorges in Kashmir. Just recorrect it. Indus gorges in Kashmir. Okay, children. Okay, so after canyon, gorges, and it will create a floodplains, and also it will be deposited its heavy loaded items in the side of the before entering into the ocean. Remember that topics, and also it moves in the we can understand the snake shape. We call it as a Mendes. Okay, this all last class we have completed, and also Oxbow Lake is formed, and the last end of its journey, the river's journey at end is before entering to the ocean or sea. It all dumping. It's all the waste surrounding of the ocean. Then there forming the landforms we call the delta. Remember delta. Mostly it is in the triangular shape. This landform will be in the triangular shape. That meaning, don't think like this landform. Means the landform is forming like this and will be shaped as a triangular. From the upper layer, if you take a photograph, that shape will be as a triangular. Got it? Because simply understanding, the river water like this move, it deposits all the waste here, and it will deposit, and will be entering into the ocean. So this is the ocean. And this river water dumping its waste here and entering into the ocean. So from the space, if you take the picture, this landform looks like a triangular shape. Can you understand? This landform looks like a triangular shape. So that is the reason we called delta, because in the triangular shape in the Greek language called as a delta. So it also same as a triangular shape. Then that landform is called delta, and this is a very fertile land. Okay, very fertile land only, delta region, because all the waste material is dumped nearby the ocean before entering into the ocean by the rivers. Okay, so the largest delta in the world, remember, that is Sundarban Delta. Okay, Sundarban Delta. It is formed by the two rivers. So not a mixing of the two rivers, that is one is Ganga, another one is Brahmaputra. Okay, with the merging of two rivers, these two rivers is going to be fall into Bay of Bengal. Remember, our the Brahmaputra as well as Ganga falls into Bay of Bengal. So when they fall before they dumping all the waste in the surrounding and create and also we know these two are the very biggest river in India. Okay, so it create a large amount of the waste surrounding and form the delta. That delta we call the Sundarban Delta. Okay, mostly in the states of the West Bengal, we can find the Sundarban, West Bengal and Bangladesh country we can find the Sundarban Delta, which is the biggest delta in the world. Okay, understood children? So until here is the work of the water. I think now it's clear for every information. Okay children, now we are going to understand the work of the glacier. Okay children, let's start. Okay children, now we are going to understand the work of glacier. So what is glacier? And first of all you tell me where we can find a glacier. Yes, of course, where there is a cooler region or it is filled with snow areas such as Himalayas or higher altitude. The word altitude means height. Remember the word altitude. Okay, altitude means height. Okay, the word altitude means height. So where there is a higher altitude as well as a higher latitude. Okay, higher altitude and higher latitude. For example, 70-degree latitudes or 90-degree latitudes such as Greenland area, Arctic Ocean and Antarctic region. These region also we can find the cooler snow areas. They are completely snowfall happening and the mountain is full of will be ice. Okay, so where we can find the glacier? If question asks, we can write the glaciers are found in the higher altitude and higher latitude. The glaciers are found in the higher altitude and higher latitude. We can find the glaciers. So in our India also glaciers are found in the Kashmir region. Okay, Kashmir region and where there are hill stations or Himalayan region we can find the glaciers. So here you can see some of the glacier picture also once you observe it. Okay children, yes. Yes. Okay. So the glaciers will be moves downward. Sometimes it will be moved downward glaciers. So what is glacier means? We can understand the slow moving mass of ice. The slow moving mass of ice. Sometimes we can call a river of ice. So remember slow moving mass of ice. Slow moving mass of ice is called glacier. This is called glacier and sometimes we can call river of ice. Slow moving river of ice also we can call. Sometimes slow moving river of ice also we can call. So what is glacier mean? The slow moving mass of ice is called glacier or slow moving river of ice is called glacier. Okay. So this glacier sometimes will comes down. Why? Due to the pressure, due to the force of the gravitation. So due to the gravitational force, the gravity will pull those ice to down. So this causes it will come down, eroding. So erosion of the glacier, this glacier will be erosion. So erosion of glacier we called as a plucking. What the process? plucking. So remember, the plucking is the eroding process of the glacier. Okay, so when the glacier eroded with the help of the gravitational force, that process is called plucking. Got it, children? Okay, so when this comes down with the help of the process plucking, when this comes down, it takes same as the river water. Same as the river water also, we know that when it comes down, it pick up all the rocks, debris, whatever the materials are in surrounding. Same as, but the river has a very high speed, but that much speed do not have for the glacier. Okay, glacier do not have much force as the river. Got it? Yes. So this glacier, when it comes down, it pick up some small rocks nearby. The what are the mainly rocks are appearing. Okay, so rocks, debris, pebbles, this all will be bring, but not taking the bigger rocks. It is taking a smaller rocks and will bring about. So one side ice along with some small rocks. So together is coming. Ice as well as rocks are together comes. You know sandpaper. So this is the sandpaper. We are mostly using sandpaper to smoothen the surface of the wood. Yes or not? Or sometimes in the cycle shop also puncture tire also we are smoothening with the sandpaper. While we sandpaper with the smoothening time, we observing the particles of the wood, upper particles of the wood is break away. Yes or not? And becoming smooth. Correct or not? Same as that, here when this glacier comes down, already said the glacier has ice as well as the small rocks. So these ice and small rocks act as a sandpaper. Act as a sandpaper on the bigger rocks. Act as a sandpaper on the bigger rocks and rubbed. What happened? There have the bigger rocks we called bedrock. We call it bedrock. The bedrock also it take away by the glacier. Understood, children? So when first glacier eroding, we call it is a plucking, and it brings some pebbles, small rocks all along with that. And these small rocks, pebbles, and ice together act as a sandpaper on the big rocks. We call it bedrock. What call it bedrock? Okay. So when it comes, what we can say, when it's rubbed along with the bedrock, actually what happened? The bedrock also comes along with the glacier. Okay, so when bedrocks also comes, so this causes making a heavy weight for the glaciers to take away. Got it, children? And this debris, pebbles, all from the nearby the places it is bringing, and those things we are called as a till. Remember, till. Okay, till means the pebbles and small pieces of rocks, bedrocks, it's brought by the glacier from different region, That's we called a till. Understood or not? Simply we can understand the waste materials brought by the glacier. Okay, that's we calling as a till. And we know that when it bring down, same as our the river water, when it comes, it breaks the mountains and created a V-shaped valley. Same here, when it comes down, okay, the glaciers are, when it comes down, glaciers we know already very more bigger in size. So not glaciers are not as like water, it is a bigger in size. So this causes what happened, it brings down, and when it started to melting the glacier slowly will started to melt. Here glacier started to melt, and you can observe here there is one shape we can understand, not V, but looks like somewhat U. Okay, here we can understand U. So remember U-shaped. Okay, U-shaped valleys will create by the glacier. Glacier will create a U-shaped, the river water created a V-shaped. You can see in your textbook also. Okay, so when it comes down, look at the one U-shape. You can find a U-shape. This is the melting of the glacier, and started to become as a water. Got it, children? And this is we called U-shaped valley. You can see this is a mountain, and this is some parts mountain, and here we can understand U-shaped. Got it, children? Okay, so the river water create a V-shaped valley, and glaciers will create a U-shaped valley. Got it, children? Yes. And that materials, pebbles and small pieces of rocks, okay, this all together we called it till. I called it till. And this till also cannot bring more far places by the glacier because the load is heavy. So when it started to melt, it becomes as a water and leaving this still in here and there, leaving this still here and there, and that deposition we called moraine. What we are calling moraine. Remember, moraine. Moraine is the last deposition happening by the glacier. Children got it? So the deposition by the glacier, deposition of the pebbles, gravels, sediments or rocks pieces, this all together deposited here and there by the glacier. It is called moraine. This deposition is called moraine. So here we are, what are the understood? We can look here. Mostly where we can find the glaciers? Glaciers are found in the higher latitude and higher altitude region where there is a very cool place. Yes or not? Yes. And next we understood the glaciers will move due to the force of the gravitation, but the speed of the glacier is not much as river water. And when the glaciers are eroded from the mountain, the process we called plucking. And the process of the plucking, the glaciers brings along with that small pieces of rocks. And these small pieces of rocks and we can understand small pieces of rocks as well as the ice together act as a sandpaper and rubbed over the surface of the rocks and take away the bedrock also. Got it, children? And that process we call abrasion. Remember, abrasion. Abrasion. That process we call abrasion. Means abrasive. Abrasive means to removing, okay, or rubbing over the surface. So abrasion process. So here two processes happening: plucking and abrasion. And it transported or eroded all the material. When it eroded, we called plucking, and these ice and small rocks rub the surface over the bigger rocks and take away the bedrock. That process we called abrasion. What we called abrasion. So with the help of the plucking and abrasion, it brings all the materials towards the down. Okay or not? And these materials we called it till. What called it? Till. All the materials brought by the glacier we call it till. But when it started to melt as the water, ice started to melt and form as the water, it cannot bring all the materials down, and it will be deposited here and there. That deposition we called moraine. So here mainly formed the landforms. One is U-shaped valleys when it is brought down. Okay, and these all are the process only. And moraine also one of the landform we can mainly U-shaped valley, and moraine is formed by the glacier. And one more thing, when it comes down and when it melts into water, the glacier melts into water and there will form a pool. This pool is known as a plunge pool. Remember, plunge pool. Okay, so plunge pool. Plunge, plunge pool. So when the ice water, when the glacier started to melt and form as a pool, that pool we called a plunge pool. Okay, in your textbook you can see the picture. This is said one. This is a pool, plunge pool. Got it, children? Yes, this is the plunge pool. So these are the information related to the work of the glacier. Okay, so now we are going to understand the work of the waves. Okay, children, let's start. Children, now we are going to understand the work of waves. Okay, waves where we can find? Yes, of course, over the ocean or on the sea we can find the waves. The waves have its other name, we can say tides. There are low tides are there and higher tide also are there. Okay or not? Okay. So we know that the erosion and deposition by the waves created coastal landforms. So we know that in our India also, in the southern India, if we observe in the southern India, we can find here there is a coastal lands, here also coastal landforms are there. And here we can understand, here is the Bay of Bengal, yes or not, the Bay of Bengal. And here we can find here is the Arabian Sea, yes or not, the Arabian Sea. So due to this ocean or sea, what forming, the coastal landforms will form. So how does the coastal landforms form? We can understand the erosion and the deposition by the sea waves form coastal landforms. Coastal landforms. Okay, children? Okay. So now we understand important character here. In the sea water also there are some of the bigger rocks are there. Rocks means the same as a small mountains like inside of the ocean we can find. And that in height will be rise the upper level. Okay. So these first the example, this is the rocks. Just imagine this is the rocks. Okay. So these rocks get hit by the or striking by the sea waves. Striking by the sea waves. Already we know the sea waves, sea contains salt and water, ozone and air. So this causes the reaction between air, water and salt. These rocks will become weaker. Already we studied. These rocks will become weaker and continuously striking over these rocks. What happened? The rocks in some parts is breaking and forming as one caves. Form as one caves. So we call the first what forming? The caves will form. Got it? And I'm saying about the ocean, how the rocks. Got it or not? This is the upper surface of the rocks in the higher level of the ocean. So over the ocean we can find it. Yes. So it will form the caves. What happened next? Inside. So this process if continue, these caves break. Only these parts are remaining. Only here we can remain just. So first time said about the caves, you can find here. This is the caves. We can find the sea caves. Got it, children? Second, what happened? The process. It's continuously. This process continued. It formed as a only one arches. So this is we called arches. Same as our function times we are keeping as a welcome arches. Do you know welcome arches? In great numbers, if coming to your village, you will keep as one like this welcome arches. You can understand. You write here welcome to our village. Some of the villages already it's built also. Remember it? So this is we called arches. Okay. So same as that arches here formed. Can you see? Here is the arches. So we called it is the arches. Sea arches. Got it, children? Yes. After further what happened? This process is continued due to erosion by air and wind as well as this sea. This created the breaking of the arches. Only this left over this much. Okay. And this is we called as a sea stack. What we calling? Sea stack. Only just only walls are left. Before there is a roof are there. Arches, but now roof also gone with the process of the erosion by the wind and water. Now only walls are left. Okay, so first one caves we understood here. After the caves gone under, what form arches? Arches, and now roof has been gone. Only just a wall remaining. The wall we called sea stack. And this upper part, okay, this upper part, this stack also will be, ocean will be overcomes or the breaking, only these parts will be remaining, these parts, okay. So when it comes down, because these parts are break, this rocks will be comes down and will form as a sea cliff. What we are calling? Sea cliff. Remember, okay. So here is the picture I shown for you. Remember, this is a sea cave. After sea arches formed. Next, this is a sea stack, and this is the sea cliff. So remember the definition of the sea cliff here given: the steep rocky coast rising almost vertically above the sea water is called sea cliff. Okay, so last we got a sea cliff. So these are the main formation happening here. First we studied the erosion and deposition of the sea waves for the formation of the coastal landforms. Okay, and the rocky mountain, always the mountains over the oceans get continuous strike by the sea waves and causes formation of the sea caves. So no, this process is continuous. The sea caves will become as a sea arches. Let me see the continuous process. It becomes full of hole. First there is no hole, only parts. and it will form as a sea arches. And the further process erosion continued, the breaking of the roof, and only just walls are remain. We call it as a sea stack. Okay, and this continuously process happen. Only the upper part of the walls are remaining. That's we call the sea cliff. Okay, and from the sea cliff, further process there starts to be formed cape. Remember cape and bay. Okay, two landforms will be formed, cape and bay. Cape and bay, we can understand our the Bay of Bengal. There also we can understand bay, and also Cape of Good Hope, the South African end point, African continent end point, Cape of Good Hope, Cape. So there from the cliff they are forming other two landforms, cape and bay. Okay, same as the river Glacier depositing its materials at last, same as that the ocean waves or sea waves also will deposit its sediment over the seashore. That one, that landforms we called as a beaches. Remember beaches. Okay or not? Okay. So what is meant by beaches means the deposition of sediments by the sea waves along the seashore is called beaches. I repeat once more, the deposition of sediments by sea waves along the seashore is called beaches. So here mainly we understood the what are the landforms mainly forming coastal landforms and beaches, sea caves, sea cliff, sea arches, sea stack, sea cliff, cape, bay. So these are the landforms will created by the work of waves. I hope you understood well, children. Okay, so next we are going to understand the work of the wind. Okay, let's start. Okay, children, now we are going to study the work of wind. We know that wind, the what we can say about the movement of air. Okay, if the wind moves very slowly, we call it is a breeze. We call it is a breeze. Okay, the wind moves gently or smoothly. If go, we call it is a breeze. If it is go very faster, we call it is a storm. So not a wind storm, you can call it is a storm. Okay, so the wind sometimes it will go very faster. This causes what will happen? It will erode so many soil particles, and also in the mountainous areas in some parts will be cut away. That much fast also it can be go. So when the mountain parts will be cut away, we are called about, you can see here also one of the picture given, the mushroom rocks. Can you see the down part of this rocky area? It's take away or carved out by the rocks with the continuation of the erosion and formed its formation of the mushroom rock. Because why it got the name mushroom? Because there is a one of the, sometimes in the rainy season we can find also some one umbrella like one of the things we can find in your surroundings. Okay, and this is we call the mushroom. Okay, this is called mushroom. Here you can see the picture also mushroom. Same as this, you can find these rocks also formed as that shape. So another one here we can find this is we called Inselberg. Remember Inselberg. So this also same as the work done by the wind to erode at the rocky particles from the mountains and form as this shape. This is Inselberg. This is a flat, and here we can say it is a vertically thin are there. So in the bottom very thin and upside top somewhat fat. Okay, here we can find as a plateaus like. So not some flat at the top. Got it, children? So this is Inselberg, and this is the we can say as the mushroom rock. Already we know that the desert. Okay, in the desert region you can find the full of the soil are there. In the desert region there is no water. Only with the presence of the wind the desert get different shape. We can understand desert have the different shape, because from here the wind will be take away this soil and deposit in other some area, and from here taking deposit some area, here taking deposit. So the desert getting different shape as the shows here in the picture. You can find the desert get different shape, because this is happening due to the presence of the wind. The wind carry the soil and deposit in some other areas. God or no? And mainly when they carry the fine dust soil, mostly above of the desert or the surrounding of the desert, very fine dust, very fine dust, that soil we called as a low soil. Remember, low soil, LOESS, low soil. Got it, children? And this low soil is very fertile. In agriculture is good possible in a desert region with the help of this low soil. Already we know in desert and how the cultivation always vegetation, that is a cactus and palm trees. So date palms and cactus only we can mostly finding in the desert vegetation. So now children, that is also happening with the help of the loess soil. Got it? And it is a very good fertile, mostly to find a fine lawn. Okay, this is a character of the fertility of the loess, fine lawn soil, low soil we can understand. And it's a deposition, and there formed the plain we called loess plain. Remember, loess plain. The deposition of the low soil is called loess plain. Deposition of the low soil is called loess plain. Got it, children? So this is the work of the wind, very small, and also the wind deposit the soil in different area, as we said here, and this is we call the sand dunes. Remember, this is we call as a sand dunes. Okay, this structure we can call as a sand dunes. It is depositing the soil from one place to another place. That's we call as a sand dunes. Okay, understood, children? Sand dunes. And this is a loess plain, and this is a sand dunes. Okay, loess plain is, we understood, very fine dust soil beyond the desert region, and deposit we call it loess plain. It has a fine lawn. Got it, children? So this is the work done by the wind. Okay, yes. So we still now we have completed the work of water, work of glacier, work of waves, and work of winds. So these only not to change in the surface of the landforms and other activities, other people who are the human beings, animals, plants. Okay, animals, plants, and human beings also responsible to change in the surface of the earth. Okay, so that's how it process. Let's look. So the last topic of our lesson, that is action of vegetation and human beings. Okay, so still we studied the work of water, river, glacier, waves. They change the landform, the shape of the landforms. Now the vegetation, the plants. Okay, you know the very bigger trees, when it grow, the root part of the trees are started to break the rocks. So no, you can see in our school also the bigger trees are there. The surrounding how the rocks for the trees breaking with its roots. Okay, so these roots are spread here and there. What happening? The rocks all will get cracks and its shape breaking. So not so vegetation also, and also animals. The grazing of when grazing, it reduces its soil fertility, and they are also creating cracks. Got it, children? So vegetation also making the important role for the change in the shape of the earth. And when the industrial revolution started, means industries are begin from the 18th century, we can understand the end of the 18th century, industrial revolution started. That means man-made goods changes into machine-made goods. And the people's hands with making, that changes into machine-making goods started. From that beginning, from that time, what much changes happen in our the earth or world by the activities of the human beings. Making of industries by breaking many mountains, plateaus, and industries, factory, houses, our self-satisfied purpose, we breaking all the rocks, everything. So that way also we are changing the landforms. Got it, children? So we understood now. Conclusion of this lesson: the lithosphere. Lithos means we know the rocks. So these rocks get many changes. We understood volcanoes, sudden movement, slow movement, sea floor spreading, and the formation of landforms, plate tectonics, plates. This all we have completed this lesson in. Children, and also we understood the process of changing the landforms. They are weathering, erosion, transportation, deposition by the wind and waves, water, and glacier, and also human beings and vegetation also responsible for the changing of the landforms. So if it is continue, if this process if continue in around the earth, everywhere only desert only will find, only desert only will find, no other things. Okay, so we should protect our the landform also. Where there is a necessary, there only we should be break the landforms and build what we needed. So unnecessary we should not be, understand, or and agriculture land should be increased more, then only what happen in the soil fertility will increase and it will help for our the growth also, and the future it will be safe for us. So now children, so I hope you understood well this lesson, and today is your homework to write all the question answers of this lesson. Okay, and one point we missed to say that there are three type of landforms are there: first order landform, second order landform, third order landform. Remember the first order, second order, third order landform. The first order landform means mainly continents and oceans. Remember, continents and oceans, these are the first order landform. The second order landform, that is mountains. Remember, mountains, plateaus, okay, mountain, plateaus, plains. Okay, these are the second order landform: mountains, plateaus, plains. And the third order landforms, we know that we studied the valleys, deltas, okay, and valleys and dunes. So these are the etc. Okay, these are the third order landform. First order landform is continent and ocean. That means the first forming on the earth the continents and oceans. Got it, children? And from the continents we know the plates break and what form mountains. That there is a second order landform: mountains, plateaus, plains, etc. And by the process of the river waves, glacier, etc., they created the landforms. That's why we still studied that is will come the third order landforms. Got it, children? So to understand that things, here there is a question: easy to understand the three landforms. You can find here in your textbook backside. Look at the Himalayan mountain, they are provided as a second order landform. So you can guess the Pacific Ocean. So ocean is, we can understand, first order landform. And Bison gorge is formed by the river, so last formed, so we understand third order landform. So like that you just fill it, okay, and these things you first fill and check your answers correct or not. And first when you after filling, just take the screenshot of this and send it to me. I will check whether it is correct or not. Okay, then I can understand you understood this topic. Okay, children, so we completed this lesson, and just look what are the keywords are here. This is the keywords. Once observe it. First one we understood plate tectonics, and we come to understand that plate tectonics is igneous rocks, mainly the rocks formed by the lava, and sedimentary rocks, okay, mainly the formation by the rivers making the rocks, or what you can say sedimentary rocks, means depositing far here and there, that is sedimentary rocks. Lost plain, when we study the desert region, the fertile plain only lost plain, and U-shaped valley, it is created by the glacier. Okay, children, yes, that also we have completed now totally. Yes, children, so in your fair note you have to write this lesson as fair note. That means 1 to 10 question. 11th one no need to write. 1 to 10 question you should be writing your fair note. So that is your homework. You should complete the fair note as soon as possible. Within 2 days you just complete it and take the screenshot and send it to me. Okay, children, so I hope you understood well today's class, and if you have any doubt regarding today's topic, just ask me by phone calling or any message. Okay, children, and related to this topic, soon you are going to get a quiz competition. Through just play well and send it to me. Okay, I want to get 2 screenshots. First attempt, what is your marks, that is your original marks, 1 or 2 or 3 or no problem, just send me that screenshot. And after you play as much you want, and when you get the full marks, then that marks also you send it to me. Okay, children, so I hope you understood well. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Take care.